active international presence. We provide our clients with the right balance between their needs and our platform's optimal performance. We seek precise solutions for the continued use of legacy systems and, where appropriate, development of required applications. Real ID has grown thanks to the port and maritime industry's safety and security needs. Each of our modules are managed by a simulated artificial intelligence called Soleil, capable of learning scenarios and finding solutions according to the end user's requirements. Hello, and welcome to this webinar, operated and sponsored by Real ID. For your convenience, please turn your cameras and microphones off during the webinar. For your convenience, please turn your cameras and microphones off during the webinar. The webinar will begin momentarily. For questions and comments, please use the chat located in the center of the bottom of your screen. The webinar will begin momentarily. Real ID is a passionate and committed team. Through entertainment technology, we contribute to our clients' social and professional development. We offer a comprehensive service that responds to new challenges and has established our active international presence. We provide our clients with the right balance between their needs and our platform's optimal performance. We seek precise solutions for the continued use of legacy systems and, where appropriate, development of required applications. Real ID has grown thanks to the port and maritime industry's safety and security needs. Each of our modules are managed by a simulated artificial intelligence called Soleil, capable of learning scenarios and finding solutions according to the end user's requirements. Hello, and welcome to this webinar, operated and sponsored by Real ID. For your convenience, please turn your cameras and microphones off during the webinar. For your convenience, please turn your cameras and microphones off during the webinar. The webinar will begin momentarily. For questions and comments, please use the chat located in the center of the bottom of your screen. The webinar will begin momentarily. For your convenience, please turn your cameras and microphones off during the webinar. For questions and comments, please use the chat located in the center of the bottom of your screen. We will now start the webinar.
Hello, good morning. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm going to go assume that people can hear me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jorge Duran. I am the chief of the Secretariat here at the Inter-American Committee on Ports, known as CIP, from the Organization of American States. And I bid you the warmest welcome to today's webinar on social responsibility towards port productiveness and effectiveness. This event, which I must say has been rather popular, we have had registrations from 26 different countries, and I'm going to just read you the list real quick so you know what kind of people and where they're from. But we have people from Argentina, from the Bahamas, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Guyana, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Somalia, Suriname, Switzerland, Trinidad and Tobago, the United Arab Emirates, the United States, and Uruguay. So thank you all so much for joining in this event. As you know, in the CIP, we have 6 different tags or technical advisory groups, and you can see them in the portal. But we have one specifically on social responsibility, port-city relationship, and gender equality. So this event, this webinar, is under the aegis of the activities of this tag. As you know, this tag is chaired by Panama, by the Panama Maritime Authority, and they've given us, as always, their full support. And it is important that I remind you all that our commitment, the CIP's commitment to promote social responsible practices in the region is what we consider it essential to increase port productivity and port efficiency. In fact, social responsibility is one of those things that allows us to also be more inclusive and diverse in the talent and the human resources that are engaged in port, giving that port more potential. Excuse me, the sustainable resiliency is also important. And I am sure that our speakers today, which come from 3 different institutions, from DP World Paramaribo, from Portonave in Brazil, and the Women in Maritime Association, WiMAC, from the Guyana chapter. These presenters, who Mona Swoboda from my team will soon introduce, I want to thank you 3 for donating your time and your expertise to share it with our people and with the SIP community. I will be taking up again at the end of the event. In the meantime, I bid you all a warm welcome again. And without further ado, I'd like to turn the floor over to Ms. Mona Swoboda, a project or program coordinator here at the SIP Secretariat, who will be introducing the participants and moderating. Let me remind those on the public, the audience, that both the recording of this webinar as well as the presentations made by the speakers will be available in the SIP portal, which, as you know, is portalsip.org. I repeat, that is portalsip.org, and you can check there for reference. Also, this webinar is being broadcasted live on YouTube, and you should have received that link in case you want to turn it over to friends or family. They don't need to register, they just need to click on that link. So anyway, now, without further ado, Mona, please, the floor is yours. Thank you all again for your time and sharing and believing in the work of the SIP. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jorge, as always, for your very warm welcome. You're right, my name is Mona Swoboda. I'm the program coordinator at the SIP here in DC, and it's, as always, an honor to be able to be your moderator today in this fantastic session on social responsibility, best practices in the port sector. As Jorge mentioned, here at the SIP, we are strongly committed to promoting social responsibility best practices, and fora such like this webinar are an important platform to exchange knowledge and share best practices as they relate to the social responsibility in our industry. So I will be moderating the session. Our 3 speakers will have 15 minutes for their presentation, and then we will go right into a dynamic question and answer session. If the audience has any questions, feel free to post those in the chat. And if time allows, I will, of course, also get to your questions. If there are any questions for which we won't have time, I will make sure to send them on over to our expert speakers here today and share with you their answers. And now, without further ado, I'm very, very honored to introduce our first speaker, who's my dear friend, Marvel Kotzebue-Fleur. She is currently the CEO of DP World Paramaribo in Suriname, which consists of 2 terminals and a logistics company, that is DP World Logistics Suriname. She is a strategic and commercial-minded senior executive with success in improving business performance and profitability. Marvel has over 20 years of various sales and commercial management roles. And in 2011, she made a well-balanced decision to continue her career in the maritime industry. Her main competencies are in business development, change management, process improvement, with a core focus on building sustainability within the supply chain. In November 2022, Marvel was chosen as vice chair of the Suriname Industry and Trade Association, and in 2023, she joined the Suriname Economic Oversight Board. In 2023, and very excited to announce this, she also won the SIP OAS Maritime Award of the Americas in the category Outstanding Woman in the Port Sector. So I'm very honored to pass on over the mic to our outstanding woman in the port sector 2023. Marvel, the floor is yours. And I know that Monica from the SIP team will assist in sharing your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. Thank you, Jorge. It's a real honor to be on this platform, sharing my experience and humble knowledge about sustainability. Since I have 15 minutes, I will jump right into the presentation because it's actually very exhaustive presentation, and I would like to have my colleagues as well have sufficient time to do their presentation as well. So today we will be speaking about sustainability at DP World. Actually, sustainability, the term is our flagship and the name that we have assigned to corporate social responsibility. Monica, if you would like to go to the next slide. So the agenda, I will give a little bit of background about DP World. For us at DP World, we place sustainability at the heart of our business, and we will show you how. A little bit of DP World Paramaribo and a bit of our sustainability activities and programs that we have implemented in South America. Next slide. So DP World, for those who are not familiar with our company, we are a global terminal operator previously, but have expanded our services across the globe. Currently, we aspire to be the logistics chain provider. We are located in 76 countries. We handle currently 92 million TEUs, and 10% of world trade is being pushed by either our terminals or our logistics zones and through our marine services. Next slide. So our vision is to provide simply end-to-end supply chain solutions, and the slogan that is backing our vision is from factory floor to customer door. What does that mean? Previously, as I was saying, and Monica, maybe you could go through the next slide. Previously, we were only within the terminals. We started in 1972 in the Emirates with our one terminal, expanded since 1970 to the Middle East, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And in, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, we made a well-balanced decision to acquire marine services. P&O Maritime is one of them. Then we made another well-balanced and strategic decision to enter into the total supply chain by acquiring Syncreon and Imperial. And currently, we actually have services in the whole supply chain. The bottom line is that it needs to be technology-led, meaning you need to have visibility of your cargo or services within the supply chain. And we have developed actually solutions to support our services throughout the whole supply chain. Next slide. So if we bring together our supply chain solutions, as I was saying, we are in ports and terminal across the globe. We own and operate several terminals in every region. As I was saying, we as well have marine services like Unifeeder and P&O Maritime. Logistics, we just opened up 100 plus freight forwarding companies, as well as operating parks and economic zone where we have our port-centric logistics services, and we have our specialized department that develops technology to support our port and logistics services. So that is a bit of background about DP World as a company. In 2023, Monica, can you go to the next slide? So sustainability globally, next slide. So our aim with sustainability is to have build a better future for the planet and our people by having our services backed up by technology, smart processes, have resources available that are really focused on the climate and supporting the operations. So in generally, when we make business decisions, the sustainability aspect is being considered as one of our key pillars. Can we go to the next slide? Our sustainability program is called Our World, Our Future. There are 7 responsible business priorities. You can see them at the top of the cycle. These are safety, society, ethics, community engagement, well-being, climate change, and people development. And that is what we call our world. And our future are focused on legacy. So by having these enough focus areas in perspective, we are building a legacy for tomorrow. The focus area are and our 7 business priorities are linked with core SDGs: climate action, gender equality, quality education, and life below water. And the focus areas are women, education, and water. So again, this program is called Our World, Our Future. With our world is the internal business priorities, and our future is building for the sustainable future. The next slide. A bit of highlight of what we have achieved as a global company. We have committed ourselves to contribute to water basins by 2030. Our ESG ratings based on the platform Sustainalytics gives us a rating of 8.8. And we are focusing on climate actions. That's the green side below 13% below our target to cut on energy emissions. And our globally, the source of our activities is 60%. Basically, I hope you know what I mean, because we focus on green energy to support our business model. Next slide. So one important thing is that in last year we did the analysis, and in um, April 2024 we for the first time released our sustainable development impact disclosure report. From 2020 we actually had our ESG report, which gave an overview of our ESG scorecard. But with this in the next level report and analysis, we try to really focus on the impact that our sustainability actions have on the countries we operate in. So there are specific metrics that we use. And this report is available online. Actually, we have placed QR code. So when you have the report, you can scan and read through it. It will take extensive time if I should go through it, but I encourage you to read it and see what the metrics are and how we have actually implemented the impact analysis in the countries of operation. So for Paramaribo, Monica, so DP World Paramaribo is is a small version of part of the network of DP World. We have 3 entities. If you go to the next slide, Monica, then I can disclose. So we have 2 ports, and the one is called IPS Integra Port Services, which is a multi-purpose terminal located in the inner city of Suriname. And we have SPS, which is Suriname Port Services, focuses on industrial project and mining cargo. Recently, 3 years ago, we opened up our logistics company focused on freight forwarding and end-to-end logistics solutions. This is actually in line with the strategy that we aim at to be a end-to-end supply chain provider. So Suriname as well is joining the global strategy to really move forward. So what do we do as DP World Paramaribo when it comes to sustainability activities? Can you go to the next slide, Monica? The next one. So, as I said, the seven business priorities focus on health, well-being, safety, and the three legacy on climate. So, we focus on getting our people home safe. That's why we have a robust internal safety engagement program. We are ISO certified. We have strict incident management reporting systems, uh, and we are actually audited by our regional and our global office every 2 years, and of course by the external auditors. And we have also our quality management systems. Our program is commitments we live by, so that focus on the fundamentals, the pedestrian protection, working at heights, mobile equipment, etc. And when we talk about climate change, we do have a target to decrease carbon emission 3% year over year. Usually the strategy that we use is to support our operations with electrified equipment, and also by focusing on digitalization and implement process efficiencies. Other activities that we have in the next slide, Monica, that focuses on people. We said that we focus on female and people development. So we have a talent management program, meaning that all employees have equal access to individual development programs. We do have our internal training programs backed by what we call DP World Hub. And also our leadership has supporting and training to execute their job well. One of our very nice program is actually the global education programs, where we aim to train youngsters to interest them in the maritime sector. As you know, the maritime sector is a very specific industry, and usually you don't get easily access to of our youngsters don't get easily access to this sector. So we try to interest them from the early years in their educations. So we give them equal opportunity for internships. We have tours to the schools. We do youth fairs, etc., etc. And of course, our women empowerment program, which have various layers. Mentor Her program is launched globally. So you have mentors and mentees across the globe. Year over year, we have mentors and mentees that apply for the program, and this is basically to support their career path. So there are several other activities, but I will leave it at this part. To the next slide, Monica. I need to make my 15 minutes. So if we talk about ethics, because basically ethics is high on our agenda, we do have a fraud risk global platform. Every terminal or company, logistics company, has a fraud risk champion, and worldwide there are conferences to exchange information on how to combat fraud within the organization. Also, our anti-slavery and anti-corruption documents we have. So we try to comply with local legislation, etc., etc. And the D&I policy is to focus on a diverse workforce within our industry. The next slide. This is just a brief overview of the activities, the community engagement activities that we have implemented in DP World Paramaribo. So the impact we need to analyze. So this is the overview. We had 50 volunteers, 14 activities, 1,042 volunteering hours, and 2,400 something persons were directly impacted by our programs. I think I'm at the last slide. So the last slide. Oh no, this is just to give a heads up that we have a dedicated sustainability team to focus on community programs. And the reason why we have a team, because actually, sustainability and community engagement programs are very time intensive. So we need a team to support our community programs, and this we call them the champs, the champions, and this is the methodology which is applied across the DP World network. So in every terminal you will find, or every company, you will find one or two champs that are dedicated to the sustainability activities that we actually implement in the community. And this is really the last slide, I think, which I want to display a video. This year we have launched together with the WiMAC. Before you go on, Monica, don't play it just yet. She as a Beacon campaign, with together with WiMAC Suriname, where we try to empower females to showcase their capabilities and how they contribute to the maritime industry. So we have launched this program together with WiMAC last month, and every month there will be another person who will highlight their capabilities and their contribution. For 2024, after 2024, we will continue with WiMAC Suriname, Chapter Suriname, more initiatives just to elevate the female contribution to the maritime industry. The video is in Dutch, but you have English subtitles, so I do hope you can enjoy it. So Monica, please play the video. The video is on mute. I don't know whether it's me, but it's on mute. Monica, there is no voiceover. Nobody can hear it, but okay. I think the message is clear. So again, thank you everyone. I hope that you could have a brief, could have an understanding of what we at DP World are aiming for. Uh, if there are any questions, then I'm happy to answer them at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Marvel, for your wonderful presentation. Yes, there were some audio issues with the video. However, I was able to follow wonderfully reading the captions, so that was great. And we will, of course, share your presentation on our website so that folks can watch the video later on. A beautiful initiative. And I think your presentation really highlighted nicely how multifaceted the concept of social responsibility is, right? And that it's the accumulation of many puzzle pieces that make a whole. So you were talking about, you know, health, safety, environmental components, gender equality, the inclusion of young people into your operations. And what I also really enjoyed, and I thank you very much for sharing it, was the importance of measuring the impact, to really see, hey, is what we're doing really reaching the impact we hope it is reaching? So I thought that was fantastic, and I can't wait to take a look at that report. So thank you very much, Marvel. It was a wonderful presentation, and I'll see you later at the Q&A session. I will now pass it on over to my colleague, Alessandra Santos. Alessandra Santos has more than 20 years of experience in human resource management, and since 2010, she is the Human Resources Manager at Portonave, Terminais Portuários de Navegantes, Brazil. Her main responsibilities include the recruitment and selection of personnel, organizational education, management of personnel, occupational health, and mental health. Alessandra has a degree in psychology counseling and is a volunteer at the Guide School for Blind People Helen Keller in Santa Catarina State in the south of Brazil. She is the Regional Director, Santa Catarina of Vista Brazil, and she is a member of the Advisory Council of the Instituto Portonave. And before I pass it on over to you, Alessandra, I would also like to highlight that Portonave has received the SIP OAS Maritime Award of the Americas in the category Social Responsibility Practices and Gender Equality. And I'm going to make a little commercial here. The Maritime Award of the Americas is launched every year. So we will launch the 2025 edition next January. And we invite you all to submit your best practices. The objective of the award is to really showcase all the fantastic practices that are implemented in the region ports and to share this wealth of knowledge that you have. So I just wanted to highlight that Portonave is in fact also a recipient of the Maritime Award of the Americas. And with that, Alessandra, I pass it on over to you.
Thank you, Mona. And I'm going to show this initiative in my presentation. I'm going to share my screen. Everybody is seeing my presentation?
Yes, we see it right now perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to self-describe. As you see, I'm a volunteer in a guide school for blind people. So if there were some blind person watching the seminar, they can know how can I look like. I'm a light-skinned Black woman with short afro hair with brown eyes. I'm wearing a pink blouse. I have soft makeup with a red lipstick and a 2 earring in each ear. And now I'm going to share our initiatives, Portonave, from employee and from communities. First of all, I'd like to introduce TIL. It's one of the biggest companies in the port sector. Portonave is part of TIL. They are shareholders of Portonave, Santa Catarina, Brasil Terminal Portuário, Santos, multiterminais em Rio de Janeiro. This is our terminal, Portonave, in a beautiful city called Navegantes. You can see the airport near the terminal, and Portonave and airport are the biggest companies in the city, and it's so important to develop of Navegantes. The equipment, we have 6 portainers, post-Panamax, 2 scanners, 6 reach stackers, 5 empty handling containers, 18 RTGs, now they are electrical, and 41 terminal tractor. Portonave also has a cold storage. It's fully automatized. It's one of the most important in the south of Brazil. Talking about our professionals, I really like to share this graph because it's a view of our company. Of course, the port sector is the majority male. Portonave is not different, but we are working to find a balance. You can see in red, the administrative area, there is a balance between men and women. In management, we are 18% of women. In operational area, we have 11%. This is the reason that we are developing some initiatives to improve the number of women in the terminal, in the port sector. Our ESG strategy, Portonave ESG strategy, are organized in 3 main pillars. I'm going to explain about people on board. I'm sharing 2 initiatives. They are in people on board pillar. The first one is Port for Her. We organize a training program for women to be prepared to run a career in a port sector. We run 2 editions in 2022 and 2023. In the picture, we can see one of the women that we had the opportunity to study, and now she's working with us, and she will be promoted. This is the advertisement when we organized with some partners 2 technical schools. We organized 2 courses. One is Introduction to Port Logistics, and the second one, Introduction to Port Maintenance. And we are so surprised that the high number of applicants, and we need to organize a recruitment, a selection, and we found the 40 women to start the course. The course contains some theoretical areas, theoretical classes, and practical classes, and you can see some examples. In the port logistics course, there is a forklift simulation classes. You can see in the picture, and the second picture, you can see they are organizing some electrical classes. It's a practical electrical classes. We organized some classes that women that work at Portonave so many times, they are sharing their stories. It's a success stories since they started to work at Portonave, they were promoted, and they are sharing and inspirational stories. The students, they visited the operational area. They are so excited to be so close that equipment that one day they can work in that areas. And the second edition were special for Black women in 2023. And sharing our results, we have some challenges in this situation. At the end of 2 years, 2022, 2023, we can finish in 69 students. We already hired 14. It represents 20%. When we analyze in so deep this situation, 4 of them were promoted, but on the other hand, 3 of them was dismissed because we have some challenges during the development, some behavior situations, and we tried lots of things to maintain the women here, but we have some limits, we have some borders. Unfortunately, they need to be dismissed. And we have 7 in the same position. And we are organizing next programs for the next years. The second one is maternal support program. Since 2019, we organized this program that we are so proud to share our initiatives. We decided to run this program because every time we are answering the sustainability report, we need to answer 2 questions. How many women return to the maternity leave and how many it's still working after 1 year, the maternity leave? And we realized that our number, it was low. And we decided to investigate what's the situation. We discovered that there was some problems in readaptation, some difficulties in readaptation. And we decided to organize a program, and the coordination is Josiane Bittencourt, a supervisor. She is also a psychologist and a mother and a 7-year-old beautiful boy. Talking about the parental leave in Brazil, maternity leave and paternity leave, we have different times for month in maternity leave, 5 days for maternity leave, but the government organized a program and the companies can offer 2 more months for mothers and 15 more days for father. Portonave is part of this program, and mothers can stay with her babies 7 months, considering 30-day holiday, and the father 20 days. And sharing about details about the program, there are some activities during the pregnancy, during the maternity leave, the end of the maternity leave. Josiane talked with the mother just to know what's the preparation to return the work. And the most important part of the program is when the mother returns, because we have some follow-up meetings with the manager, the mother, and the human resources professional. We realized that there was some difficulties in dialogues, and the role of Josiane in this program is to mediate conversation and avoid difficulties in readaptation. You can see some results of this program before the implementation, before the program has implemented. The average of returning, it was 46%. And you can see after the program has implemented, the average of returning is 90%. And we are so proud of these results. And as Monica said at the beginning of my presentation, we are so proud to say that we received in 2023 a Maritime Award of Americas in category Empowerment and Equality with this program. And the important information that I would like to share with you is with these initiatives, we were able to increase the number of women in the workplace by 32% in 2 years. And
I'm not sure if it's just me, but I am experiencing some connectivity issues on Alessandra's side. I see her frozen. If someone could confirm for me that she is indeed frozen, or if it's just on my end.
I think she is frozen, Lorna. I am looking at the slide and
Okay,
here, someone else from Victor Cadena says that it's frozen as
frozen as well. Okay.
Maybe
So-
we can WhatsApp her and let her know.
Yes, I would kindly ask Monica if she could reach out to Alessandra and let her know. Oh,
there
Alessandra
she
is
is.
back. There she is. She returned. Alessandra, you're muted at the time, but I would pass it on over to you again to finish your presentation.
hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I
Yes.
was on mute.
We
Every
couldn't, your screen froze, so we couldn't hear you when you were, I think it was your last slide where you were speaking about the graph and what initiatives led to increasing the number of women.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
It was possible to see the graph or not?
Yes, we did see it. We did see it, but then your camera froze and we couldn't hear you anymore, but we could see everything perfectly still.
Okay, I'm sorry. And
No problem. So if you could share your screen again and hop on
Yes.
over to that slide. Thank you.
yes, of course. Are you seeing?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm saying that in 2 years, we were able to improve the number of women in 32%. One example is these two programs that I shared with you, and the other things that we are headhunting women for no-obvious positions. We are having some diversity and inclusion training for managers, for supervisors, and for all the staff. And I finished my presentation. And once more, I would like to thanks for invitation and for having time to hear me.
Thank you so very much, Alessandra. We are the ones that have to thank you for this fantastic presentation. It was really insightful. And I think you highlighted very beautifully the importance of inclusivity and the importance of training and capacity building. Yes, you showcased the program, specifically capacity building for women, reintegration of young mothers into the workforce at the port. And I think, you know, we oftentimes, when we talk about port development and port modernization, we speak of, you know, physical infrastructure, digitalization, but our most important asset remains the human resource and our people that work in our port. So I think you really, really beautifully showcased that, how important it is to invest in our people and make sure that they enjoy where they work, and that they come back to where they work, as you highlighted in the maternity program. And I thought that was really fantastic. So thank you very much, and congratulations again on having received the award for this beautiful initiative. To the audience here on the webinar, you can see a summary of that initiative on our website as well, as part of the winners announcement. We showcased that initiative in a little bit more detail. So thank you very much, Alessandra. And now, last but definitely not least, I am excited to introduce our final speaker of the round. Again, we will speak to everyone after in the Q&A session, but I would like to introduce Ms. Katina Ben. She is a passionate advocate for girls and women in the maritime community and an advocate for seafarers' rights and well-being. After completing her undergraduate degree in social work, Katina worked as a counselor and forensic interviewer at ChildLink Guyana, a non-governmental organization that provides services to children and families. After joining the maritime industry as an executive assistant in 2015, she later pursued a master's in maritime affairs, specializing in maritime education and training at the World Maritime University from 2019 to 2020. Currently, Katina is employed at the Maritime Administration Department of Guyana as the Registrar of Seafarers. She was elected as Vice President of WiMAC Guyana Chapter in 2021, and subsequently elected as part of the Governance Council of WiMAC as the Vice President of Women and Development, and this was in 2023. Additionally, she serves on the advisory board of the University of Guyana for the Faculty of Earths and Environmental Sciences. And with that, I pass the mic on over to you, Katina.
Thank you so much, Mona. Good morning, everyone. Just give me a chance to set my screen. And I believe we should be good there.
Yes, we are.
Great. So we've heard a lot about social responsibility so far from the previous presenters, but I just would like to go back to the definition of social responsibility. What is social responsibility? Basically, social responsibility operates on a theory that organizations exist for the purpose of much more than gaining profits. Organizations exist for the general benefit of the society and those who work within those organizations. So social responsibility speaks to those things companies do for those persons in which they serve, whether it's their employees or whether it's the general public at large. Sorry. One second. So let's talk a bit about some characteristics of social responsibility or corporate social responsibility. And these two terms will be used interchangeably throughout the presentation. Firstly, corporate social responsibility, it is usually goal-oriented. What is the purpose? Why do we exist? Do we exist only, like I said previously in the definition, for profits, or do we exist to fit in a much larger picture than that? Is it long-term? How sustainable is any corporate social responsibility initiatives that we wish to implement? And usually it needs to be sustainable, because if we're going to implement corporate social responsibility initiatives, it needs to be something that is long-lasting, something that will stand the test of time. Is it sincere? Are we incorporating these initiatives because we really care? Or is it all for the likes, as we would say on social media? Is it just for a show? We need to be sincere in our practices. Let's talk about the market. Who are the persons who are included in the market? What are the market needs? We need to look at what are the needs of the ports. Is it just for the sake of port development, or is it just for the sake of operationalization, or is it also to benefit our employees? Is it to make sure that for the persons who work for us are able to be the best that they can be? Let's talk about ethics. What we're doing, is it ethical? Are we following the ethical principles? Are we respecting the beneficiaries of these programs? Usually, from time to time, we would find that if a program is implemented, persons might want not to incorporate much ethical principles there. They might not have much respect for the beneficiaries. It is absolutely necessary that once we're going to go down the path of corporate social responsibility, that we are ethical in our practices and in our principles. Responsibility. Let's talk about the responsibility, firstly, to ourselves and the responsibility to the society at large. Once we exist in this world, in which we all do, we have a responsibility to ourselves and a responsibility to our community, the persons around us. If you're working in an organization, you have a responsibility firstly to yourself, and then you have a responsibility to those persons in which you encounter or your teammates on a daily basis. And resources. What resources are available? Whether these are monetary resources or otherwise. Sometimes it might not be monetary resources that we need. We might need intangible resources. And sometimes it might be a collaboration of different kinds of resources. So these are some of the characteristics of social responsibility. Today, we're going to be talking about Port Georgetown and Port New Amsterdam. Now, Port Georgetown, or Georgetown, is the capital city of Guyana. And Port Georgetown is where the main manufacturing, commerce, and finance activities take place. Approximately 50,000 tons of cargo are handled at this port annually. And it has facilities for accommodating ships with a maximum overall length of 175 meters and a draught of 8.2 meters. The Port of New Amsterdam, on the other hand, it lies on the eastern shores of the Berbice River, and it is a medium-sized port with a natural harbor capable of accommodating barges carrying bauxite, which is the main export commodity of this area. Now, in Port of New Amsterdam, we have two government port facilities. These facilities are the Canoima Ferry Terminal, and this terminal basically is responsible for the Canoima Ferry service. This is the service that goes between Guyana and Suriname, and there is also a facility owned by the Guyana Oil Company. In Port Georgetown, we have 7 government facilities, port facilities, and 70 plus private port facilities. The government port facilities include 3 owned by the Guyana Power and Light, 1 owned by the Kingston Reed and Hoop, Guyana Oil Company again, 1 owned by the Demerara Sugar Terminal, and finally 1 owned by the Guyana National Shipping Company. Today, we're going to be looking at 2 of the major facilities that are operating currently and some of the initiatives that they have instituted in regards to corporate social responsibility. And those organizations are the Guyana Shore Base Limited and the Reed and Hoop Shore Base Limited. Now, the Guyana Shore Base Limited, or GISB, it was established in 2017, basically to serve the oil and gas industry. And currently, it has a workforce of 805 employees. More than 50% of this workforce are all Guyanese, which is a huge and major step because this speaks to our local content and the development of our local content. And these are some of the initiatives that the Guyana Shore Base would have recently embarked on, which demonstrated their passion about corporate social responsibility. This on the screen, we have their participation in an annual cancer walk, which is coordinated by the Cancer Foundation of Guyana. Inclusive in this activity, mammograms were also coordinated for employees of GISB, in addition to ultrasounds. And these were all for the female employees of this company. There was also first aid training. We all know once we're working within any institution, particularly in the ports, how important first aid training is to the staff who on a day-to-day basis interact with varying categories of items and things on a port or in a port facility. There were also initiatives focused around wellness and work and life balance. Shown on this slide are photos of game day activities that were hosted by GISB. There were also trophies, as you can see in the middle photo, that were given to persons who were successful at some of those activities. And now we're going to talk about the Vredenhoek shore-based facility. This facility is still under construction, but they have been operating for about over 2 years from their main office. Now, this facility it anticipates that it will sit on top of 400 hectares of land at Foreshore Plantation, West Bank, Demerara. And of course, it's another facility that was established to serve the oil and gas industry. It currently has over 100 employees, which are inclusive of 20% Guyanese. Now, these are some of the initiatives from this facility. Billboards were erected in the community in which this facility is nearest to. Billboards were erected to show the benefits that the facility will bring to the community, so that persons within the community will be aware of what is happening and how it would benefit the community at large. There was also a cleanup campaign of the Kingston seawall. This activity lasted 7 days, and they would have ran the cleanup campaign from Kingston to Ogle coastline, and a total of $3 million was raised during this activity. Consultations were also done with operators in the community. This was concerning dredging operations and road construction that were being done by this organization. As you can see clearly here in the photo, the members of the Vredenhoek Shore-Based Consulting with the members of the community, which is very, very important where any community development will take place. And finally, social contributions. The Vredenhoek Shore-Base Limited donated a playground item to a recreation park at Windsor Forest, which amounts to 770,000 Guyana dollars in playground equipment. And of course, this was done to enhance that area for children who wish to play in that playground, living in that particular area. So I want to go back quickly to these questions. Who are we talking about? Firstly, we are talking about port facilities. We are talking about port facilities or port organizations as we would have it. what are we talking about? We're talking about social responsibility. Do we exist just for a profit? Are we really operating just so that we can make money? Are we operating so that we can benefit the society? Are we operating so that we will make a long-lasting impact? Where we're talking about in our organizations, where can some of these social responsibility activities take place? In our organizations, in the communities, wherever we can reach. We're also talking about when. So when should we do this? Really and truly, this should be part of any strategic planning for any company. And I would advise, or I would ask companies who are interested in instituting programs of these kinds, that they put that in their strategic planning, because then you will have a longer lasting program. Why? Because it is our responsibility as an individual, as part of a society. We are larger than, our role in society is much larger than ourselves. And as organizations, we must understand that. We must come and play the various roles that we have to play. And one of the roles is not just to make a profit. One of the roles is not just to operate. It's not just to say that we have a company that makes this amount of money. No, it isn't. It's to give back to society, and it's to develop the society and the community around you. And how? We're talking about consultations. We're speaking about collaboration, public-private partnerships. These aspects are very important for any programs we're going to implement in any institutions as it relates to corporate social responsibility. And that brings me to the end of my presentation, Mona. I hope I was able to stay within your 15 minutes.
You were indeed. All of you were so efficient. I know you're all very busy professional port officials and maritime industry experts, and you were all within your time. I'm just amazed at how wonderful you all are. So I thank you very much, Katina. This was a very, I found it to be a very inspiring presentation, and I think that's very fitting to the topic that we're speaking about, social responsibility. You highlighted how we all are part of a bigger context and a bigger network, and how important it is to give back to that and to contribute in a meaningful way. So I found that very, very inspiring. And I also really enjoyed that you gave us this, you refreshed our memory, so to speak, on what social responsibility really means, and you took it back to the basics in that definition. So that was really awesome. I would now like to invite everyone back. Marvel, Alessandra, Katina, please turn on your cameras. Katina, if you would be so kind and wrap up the sharing of the screen. Thank you so much. And I would, in fact, like to start with my first question for you, Katina. You mentioned it in the beginning of your presentation. You spoke about the definition of social responsibility. So in your opinion, what are the main principles in social responsibility as it relates to the port sector, and why would you consider those the most relevant?
Thank you so much for that question, Mona. The main principles really for me, I would say, would be community engagement and also stakeholder collaboration. Because if you're going to operate, like I said in my presentation, within a particular area, you need to be in communication with those persons who are surrounding that area. You need to talk to them about how what you're doing, how your operations may potentially affect them or benefit them. And also for stakeholder collaboration, you need to look for agencies who are like-minded, like you, and they're also interested in how they can give back to corporate social responsibility principle within that community. I think that for me really are the two most important principles. Thank you.
No, thank you. I think that's spot on. And I think especially what you mentioned, the stakeholder engagement, you also talked about the collaboration with the private sector, right? It's important to know your stakeholders, to know your stakeholders' objectives, and to also know what can your stakeholders contribute to your goal in bolstering your social responsibility, because every stakeholder has a different role in that. So fantastic answer. Thank you so much. Marvel, my next question is for you. We've heard throughout the presentations today that social responsibility is the bridge that connects the port productivity and economic success of an organization to the quality, or to increasing the quality of life for the local community. So how important is the relationship with the local community, and how do you at DP World Paramaribo manage this relationship?
So thank you, Mona, for this question, because again, it's not only about giving back to the community, but you are part of the community as organization. You live, you work, and you contribute to that community. So when we talk about the social responsibility in a community, I think, first of all, when you like to expand, the first thing you do is like doing an Asia study, right? So what is the impact on the environment? What is the impact on the community? Do you make noise? So as a social responsible organization, first you look what is the impact on the community. And actually what you then do is adopt or apply a strategy that you can work, live in collaboration with that community. That's the first step. So basically, as a company, what you do is um, look at what is the environment you live in, the local legislation, how can you contribute, what is the need, and as a company, you focus your strategy on building your organization on the social well-being of because the persons that work in your organization are also part of the community, building the person within your company and your surrounding. So that is the collaboration. It's like, I see it like a symbiosis. I don't know how you say it in English, but it's like an interchange between two species that work jointly to the well-being of society.
Fantastic. You made an important point there that we ourselves, and of course the people that work in our organization, are also part of that local community. And I think that's a great way of looking at it. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marvel. Alessandra, my next question is for you. I was very impressed by your role as volunteer at the Helen Keller Guide School for Blind People. Does your experience as a volunteer at the school ever overlap with your work at Portonave, and does it contribute to your work at the terminal in some way?
Yes, completely. We already had 2 blind people working at Portonave, and now we are doing a training in masotherapy for some blind people. Now they are doing the training. There are 9 students in a 96-hour course. And at the end of the course, we will hire some of them to stay here in our company. And we will offer some mentoring sessions for all of them. And for those who don't be hired, they are receiving some help to run their own business. This is our contribution for this part of people with disability, that it's so challenging for them to stay in a corporative sector.
Wonderful. Thank you. I thank you for sharing that. And that sounds like a beautiful and very important program. So I'm happy to hear that you can use the experience that you have in your volunteer role also at Portonave and integrate that. So I think that's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Katina, we heard a lot today and during our presentations about, showcasing the best practices and, measuring the positive impact. But I'm sure there are also some challenges, right, in implementing social responsibility. So what would you say are some of the challenges that ports face in implementing these social responsibility practices?
I would say the main challenge would have to be financial constraints. We know it takes money to get things done, and especially if you're going to be implementing programs that benefit a much wider section than just your employees. You're looking to implement something that benefits the society, financial constraints are likely. So that can be very, very difficult. But once again, if you collaborate with your stakeholders, if there is government-private collaboration, that should be able to assist with some of those financial burdens.
Right. You read my mind. I was going to say speaks perfectly to what you mentioned earlier, is that, the engagement with the stakeholders and like-minded organizations where you can share resources, not only financial resources, but also technical resources, human capacity, can alleviate some of that strain. So thank you. Excellent. Marvel, my next question goes to you. If a port, I was very impressed by the social responsibility portfolio of DP World Paramaribo that you shared with us. And if a port decides to expand their own social responsibility portfolio, what would your recommendation be as to where to start that process?
Usually what I see several organizations do, and this is not to judge, it's more pick and play, what is nice. But I think that you need to define your strategy first as a company, and what is the most risky impact your operation will have on the community. If you have looked at our program, Our World, Our Future, then we are in the port industry. We have chosen climate change and water. That's not just something out of the blue. That is actually the highest negative impact that your operation can have within the society. So let's say if you would be I don't know, in the beauty industry or whatever, then you would look at, okay, what is the impact that my organization has? So this, I feel you need to look at the risk that you have as a company in your operation and try to diminish the risk as much as possible as a responsible citizen or organization, and try to operate and balance, balance the in Dutch you say overlast, the effects of negative operational risk in the society. So it's not a clear cut, because let's say you are a green operating port, then don't focus on climate change. But if you are maybe more male dominant, then you have a lot of poverty under females, you would look at that impact, for instance. So it depends on your strategy, the stage that your company is in, and the society you live in, and the risk that your operation has on the society. That would be my take.
That's a perfect recommendation. So really assessing where you are and where you want to go, and then seeing how you can get there. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you, Marvel. And then I have one final question for Alessandra to wrap up our Q&A, unless there are some more questions in the chat. I know there was one question in the chat for Alessandra with regards to one of your slides. It was in the slide of, I think, the distribution in your staff, men and women. And there's a question here, what did the purple bar refer to? What job role was the purple bar?
It's the general staff.
General staff. Okay, thank you so much. I hope that answered your question here in the chat. Thank you for that question, and we're happy we were able to clarify that. And speaking to that a little bit, Portonave has an impactful and impressive gender strategy. What is the company's specific goal in hiring women?
Yes, our goal is to increase 1% a year a number of women in operational and maintenance area, the area that we are a low number of women.
Okay, so you are really seeking to, fill that gap that you see in the operational and maintenance area. And that is, you said you don't stand alone. That's a trend that we see when we look at the numbers of the UNCTAD Maritime Review 2023. The number of women in operational and cargo handling roles is very, very low. So you are not alone there. So that's definitely a challenge that the ports in the region and across the world are experiencing. So that's an ambitious goal. Congratulations on that. And I can't wait to hear about you reaching that goal next year by 1%. So thank you very much, Alessandra. With that, I don't see any further questions here in the chat. And I would just like to, thank you all again so much for your participation, for sharing with us, the challenges you've experienced, how you've overcome these, and what your strategies are in increasing your positive impact in the local community through the social responsibility initiatives that you're implementing. So it was really inspiring to moderate the session with you all, and I'm very grateful that you gave me the opportunity to be your moderator today. And just a reminder, we will have all presentations uploaded on portalsip.org, including Marvel's video that unfortunately we couldn't hear the audio, but we were able to read the captions in English. And the recording of this webinar will, of course, also be posted online so that you can revisit these wonderful initiatives. And again, thank you, Katina. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you, Alessandra, for joining us today. I know you're all very busy professionals, so thank you very much for making time. And with that, I will pass it on over back to Jorge for the closing remarks. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Mona, as well, for a wonderful moderation job. Thank the three of you, the three speakers, again, for donating their expertise. Each one of you presented excellently different aspects or facets of what social responsibility is. And my take-homes from this is that, for instance, social responsibility on the part of the port or the terminal is an essential ingredient in order to keep the port competitive, to keep it efficient, and more significantly, to have wonderful relationships with the city and the community that surrounds it. You also drove in the point of training, of how important training of the workforce is. And this goes to the issue of diversity and social inclusion, also part of social responsibility. And as you put it, the more women that are involved, the better that the community in the port is. The activities that are done for the community are very, very important. So we're very, very, very happy and very pleased with this webinar. And I thank the three of you again. I'm going to turn over the floor to Alessandra and then Katina and Marvel in that order so that you guys can say a quick goodbye. So Alessandra.
Thank you, Jorge. I'm so delighted to be here again, and it will be a pleasure to stay with you in other opportunities, in a webinar or in a present in a physical seminar. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Katina.
Thank you so much, Jorge, Mona, and Monica, and of course, our attendees. I'm really happy that I was able to share what is happening in some of the facilities in Guyana. And of course, our country is open to business. So if you're interested in dropping by Guyana, feel free to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, Marvel.
Yes, I enjoyed being part of this platform. Thank you for the opportunity, Jorge, Monica, the audience for listening to us. And again, I think I was frozen, right?
I thought it was my connection, but I think you're right. We've have Marvel frozen. But there she goes again.
I am not frozen. Look, I'm
No, there you go.
still
Thank you, Marvel, though, very, very
Yeah.
much. The three of you. I also want to extend my thanks to Mona for moderating the seminar, and of course to the one who's always behind the screen, but without which none of this would have been done, which is Monica Blanco from the SIP team. Thank you, Monica. And last but not least, thanking our strategic partner, Real ID, and its Director General Martin Santillan for providing the technological services for this webinar. I encourage you all to visit portalcip.org, again, portalcip.org, to see these presentations, this video, as well as others. And I thank the audience and the public here for their comments, for their questions, and for their interest and participation in these events. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, and reiterating my thanks to everyone involved, I bid you now good afternoon, and we'll see you next time. In the meantime, please enjoy this coming up weekend, and be mindful that we will be sending soon another webinar invitation. So thank you again very, very much. As you can see on the chat, Monica is now putting up the link of the Mona put the portal. Monica Blanco put the link to the webinar page where you can obtain information on this webinar and any of the other 58 webinars that we have organized in the last couple of years. So thank you very, very much again, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Goodbye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yes, bye.